moved to Kansas City in 2010, and I didn't know a soul. I know no one, zero. Fortunately, after a few months, I got to serve on some advisory boards for some nonprofit organizations. So I made it a point that every meeting I was at, I would try to introduce myself to someone. So after one meeting, I introduced myself to Terry Calloway. Terry was president of Johnson County Community College until recently he retired. So after the meeting, I said, Terry, I'm Dave Janis. I'm new to the advisory board. I moved to town not long ago. Just wanted to say hi. Terry says, Dave, great to have you on the advisory board. Where are you from? I said, I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. I lived in Cleveland, Ohio. Geez, Terry, what'd you do there? I was an executive at Cuyahoga Community College. Wow, small world. You must know Jerry Sue Thorne, president. I do. I worked with her for many years. Wow, small world. Terry, what part of town did you live in? I lived in Solon. Terry, I lived on Miles Road in Solon. I lived on Harper. Terry Calloway and I, in Kansas City, found out that we lived 1 mile apart from each other in a suburb of Cleveland, Ohio, knew the same people, and actually lived there at the same time. Interesting, small world. Didn't know each other till we got here. Ladies and gentlemen, I think people have friends and they do business with people they know, like, respect, and trust. And one of the ways you get to know people is by trying to find a way to make a connection. And I don't mean like Kevin Bacon, 6 Degrees of Separation, boy isn't that interesting. I mean like Dale Carnegie. Dale Carnegie from the 1930s, author, lecturer, self-improvement guru, who wrote the book How to Win Friends and Influence People. And he said, the way to really connect with people, to establish a relationship, the way to win friends and influence people is to find something of interest to them. Find a common bond with them. And that's how you establish relationships. That's how you really establish relationships. Isn't that what LinkedIn is kind of all about? Isn't that what LinkedIn's trying to do, is connect us to people? Isn't that really what the after hours networking things that we go to are really trying to do? But I'm going to tell you that I think you have to make an investment in the other person and not yourself. So with the remaining time, what I want to do is tell you one more story about making a connection. It really is a small world. It's kind of a fun story. And then the other story I'll tell you is just kind of my holiday bonus to you. It really is a small world story. So here we go. The guys at work said to me, geez, Dave, we'd like to introduce you to Norm. Norm is a customer of the bank, and we also do business with this company. I think it'd be good for you to know. So I said, great. So we went to lunch. Norm, nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. Are you longtime Kansas City? No, I grew up in Michigan. Oh, I grew up in Michigan, Norm. I grew up in Jackson. I went to Michigan State. Norm said, I went to Michigan State. Wow, small world. Norm, how'd you end up in Kansas City? Well, for a long time, I owned a business in Des Moines, Iowa. And then I sold that. My wife's family is down here, and we have some grandkids here, so we moved to Kansas City. What kind of business did you have in Des Moines, Iowa? I had a pop bottling business. Really? What was the name of it? Mid-Continent Bottlers. Norm, my college roommate, I think, worked at Mid-Continent Bottlers in Des Moines in the finance area. His name's Marty. You mean Marty McCaffrey? Yeah, Marty McCaffrey. Wow. Small world. Norm and I are both from Michigan. Both went to Michigan State. We both know Marty McCaffrey. It's a small world. We have a connection. Same with Terry Calloway. The only reason we found that out is because we asked each other questions. We inquired about each other. We expressed interest in each other. I'd say that makes all the difference in the world. So next time you're at these events, ask questions about the other people. My last story is just a fun story. It really is a small world story. 30 years ago, I'm a banker in Michigan. A customer of mine buys a piece of property, wants to build a building on it. He hires an attorney. Attorney's in Detroit. It's about an hour away. Back in the 80s, we used the telephone. We called each other back and forth. We negotiated over the phone. We actually wrote on the documents, and we mailed them back and forth to each other. And after about 2 months, we got the transaction done. And at the end of it, Jerry, the attorney, says, Dave, it's been my pleasure. I never met Jerry. I did it all over the phone. My pleasure working with you. It's been great. By the way, I've got a vacation home in northern Michigan, and you're welcome to use it for skiing this winter. Great, that's wonderful. Jerry, appreciate it. He sent me the keys. Went up there, had a wonderful time. I don't know Jerry, I hadn't met him, so I'm looking at the family photos on the mantle. Interesting. That must be Jerry. Holy smokes, hold on. I know that guy. I went to high school with that guy in the picture, Dave LaFear. Unbelievable, small world. Monday morning, back in the office, I called Jerry. Jerry, thanks, we had a great time. It was wonderful. By the way, I went to high school with Dave LaFear. Dave LaFear is my son-in-law. Wow. Small world. So, nice story. Well, fast forward 12 years. Las Vegas, Nevada, Mirage Hotel and Casino, blackjack table, changing dealers, so breaking the action. I'm kind of chatty. So I turned to my left, and these folks are talking amongst themselves, so I won't interrupt them. Turned to my right, woman sitting there by herself. I said, are you having a fun time? She said, I am. I'm having a great time. I said, where are you visiting from? She said, I'm from Michigan. I said, well, great. I said, I grew up in Michigan. She said, what town? I said, Jackson. She said, my son-in-law's from Jackson. I said, really? What's his name? She said, Dave LaFear. The gears are turning, and I looked at her and I said, is there any chance that your husband is an attorney named Jerry? Her eyes were this big. She thought I went through her purse and was trying to see what I had. She said, how could you possibly know that? And I said, I did a transaction with Jerry back in Michigan 12 years ago. You guys let me use your condo in northern Michigan. And that's how I knew Dave LaFear. I said, I've never met Jerry. She said, oh my God, he's at the next table. So I got to meet Jerry 12 years later in Las Vegas, Nevada, under interesting circumstances. Ladies and gentlemen, that's kind of a fun story, but here's the point. If you really want to win friends and influence people, if you really want to turn this giant planet of 7 billion people into a small world, get to know the other person. Find out what interests them. Thank you, and happy holidays, Steve.